Who should dethrone every WWE champion post-Crown Jewel edition? I'm Will, that's Brandon. We're the Cousins of Destruction Wrestling Podcast. As always, let's cheers, talk about some wrestling, huh?
Yeah, we love doing this. I guess probably monthly after the PLEs, right? Everybody kind of loves doing this, whether it's us or some of your other favorite content people, right? But you got Crown Jewel just ended. You got Saturday Night Main Event coming up in just a few weeks. But then after that, you don't have Survivor Series until the end of November. So you got about 5-6 weeks just to really kind of build something here.
Yeah, plus we have a bunch of title matches that are coming up. I mean, you have the weekly Sami Zayn matches. You have 3 title matches on Raw next week. You have the stuff that's going on with Seth Rollins. A lot of good stuff, so let's talk about it. Make sure to like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Come to our live streams, Raw, SmackDown, and PLEs, youtube.com/COD WrestlePod. But let's get into this thing. Got 11 championships. A lot of them right now on WWE TV. Yep. Let's start with the least interesting of them all. I feel like we always say this every single time we do this freaking podcast. Raw Tag Team Championship. Finn Balor and JD McDonagh. Who in the hell is going to beat these guys? Who should dethrone them?
Yeah, I feel like this one, I don't know. I'm going to take the get out of jail free card, the safe answer here. I'm going, they're actually going to lose this one on Monday, right? They have their match. AJ Styles and Dragon Lee is what I got here. It just kind of makes sense story-wise. They didn't really have a match, but then Dom gets them into this match. Now, would I prefer maybe AJ Styles to maybe not be in the tag division with the tag team title? Yes, but the story kind of makes sense here for Judgment Day to drop those titles on Raw this upcoming week. I could also see maybe, if it's not them, give me Los Americanos, but I'm going with AJ Styles, Dragon Lee.
Yeah, I literally wrote on this, AJ Styles and Dragon Lee, because why not? That's kind of where I am with this. You mentioning the Los Americanos, that actually would make better story sense, because if you want to, interwove Dom in there, then that probably makes some sense. But like, at this point, does anybody really care who they lose to? Don't you just want to see the tag titles on TV more? Wouldn't AJ Styles, him kind of having the match with John Cena, he's got momentum, he's got a year left. Him with a title is better than him without a title just running around. So at this point, screw it. Put it on AJ and Dragon Lee. Put them out there weekly doing some fun stuff. That beats what we have now.
Yeah, you said we would like to see them more. I would like to see them at all.
Yeah.
We don't get them at all, really. Yeah. So, yeah, there's a couple story beats that could go there. They could go AJ Styles, DragonLee, or Los Americanos. I feel like those are really kind of the only 2 options right now.
Yeah, I mean... Yeah, nothing more to say about that one.
Nope.
We'll head on over to what was at one point the dominant tag team division on WWE television. It feels like we've kind of slowed down. We've hit the brakes on that one for a while. It is the SmackDown Tag Team Champions, the Wyatt Sicks. Who should be the ones to dethrone them?
Yeah, we talk about listing every champion, them being 11 champions. I was starting to write my list, and I was like, I'm missing something. What am I missing here? It was this. So quite the downfall for the SmackDown Tag Division, to say the least. I've got MFTs. I'm taking the other easy answer. I don't know what variation of them or what two. Maybe Tama Tonga and Tongaloa maybe is probably what I would guess if I had to guess something. It's setting up to be something really, really good, kind of set up this past week on Friday. And then maybe looking that could potentially be a War Games match. I know some people might not like to hear that, but that might be what they do. But this just screams to me like, you kind of felt something a little bit for both sides here. And this, you're like, okay, I'm interested in MFTs here, even though they've been off TV and they weren't really great the last time they were on TV. The Wyatts, you've been kind of hit and miss at times, but I kind of felt something there between these two. So that's who I got.
Yeah, I do too. I had the MFTs. I mean, it's one of those things where they came back completely repackaged with the face paint and everything going on, and they kind of had their own spooky side. So it's like they're brand new, repackaged back, established themselves going after those tag titles by literally coming and looking Wyatt Sicks in the eyes. So it's one of those things where it's like, okay, if we're going to try to revitalize and redo this MFT storyline away from like a bloodline-esque thing where they have their own identity, you kind of force yourself into it. You have to make them look relevant by winning those tag titles. That's going to prove that they are up to this new task that they do have. So I guess it's the MFTs at the end of the day.
Yeah, and you kind of look at it, people that are obviously fans of other promotions outside WWE know all about Tama Tonga, Tongaloa. So it's like, if you could really kind of tap into that side, like I'm hoping they're going to do, like the Bloodline stuff has felt super repetitive for a while. So if you can kind of tap into that and bring a little bit more life into that, I'm all for it.
Yeah, I'm literally all for it. I liked what I saw on SmackDown. We didn't do a review of SmackDown because it was so early and stuff. We couldn't get to it. But I liked what I saw from the MFT there, so I'm interested in it. We will move on to the last tag team championships on TV. We do have the women's tag team champions, Charlotte Flair, Alexa Bliss. Who should be the ones to dethrone them?
Yeah, I don't really know is probably my guess, but I'm going Zaruka on this one. Does it make a whole lot of sense? Like it's further down the line. Like I'm really kind of thinking of like the women's tag division right now. And you have like Rhea and Io. Well, they're kind of in a feud with the Kabuki Warriors, and Roxanne and Raquel are doing their thing as well. You got Chelsea Green, who is over here with Alba Fire. So it's like, well, you kind of have all these tag teams there, and it feels like it's kind of like a stacked division at times, but I don't really have an answer here. So I'm just going to take that one. That's more of like a, hey, further down the line, something I just want to see that I would think would be really cool.
Yeah, I went with Zaruka here too. People are going to say that it's too soon, and I don't disagree with you at all there. That I do agree in a way there, but at the same time, like the other team that I could see beating them would be the Kabuki Warriors, but that's so involved in its own storyline. It feels so far away from the women's tag team championship division. Like it is a women's tag team, but they feel so separate from the belts that I just don't see any path to the titles anytime soon. Plus, it's one of those things where like if you do want Zaruka to steal the titles and say Bianca Belair isn't ready to come back anytime soon, then you could have a Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss back in the solo division if you do want to throw one of them, probably a Bliss at Tiffany Stratton. So it works itself out in a lot of ways. And, you know, you could build a star right away in Zaruka, giving them the belts.
Yeah, and we obviously know they have a bunch of stuff to kind of take care of before this is all, you know, like I said, it's further down the line. But you got a little taste of it on SmackDown, at least, with them coming up and debuting not too long ago. And it's like, this was fun. This was exciting. It was kind of like rejuvenating. Like I said, the Kabuki Warriors are a tag team that I think we both originally thought in the beginning, like, okay, yeah, it might be them, but it looks like you've got that combined with maybe the War Game stuff. And then from that, you're maybe branching off and you're doing like an Asuka Rhea, Asuka Io, something of that nature, right? So that just seems like that's taking that all over.
Yeah, if you just write the teams down on paper and you see a Rhea, Io, and a Kabuki Warrior heel team, you're like, oh, well, definitely one of them. But then you have to like watch it and diagnose the storylines, and it's like, like you said, there's so many other routes away from the tag titles for them. So I just don't see that happening. We'll move on to the most important championship in all of the WWE, Women's U.S. Champion Guilia. Who's going to be the one to take that belt off her?
Does anybody care, I guess, would be my question, and I don't mean that to be harsh.
Next.
I don't mean that to be harsh or anything. I'm a big Guilia fan, but I know just not too long ago she surpassed 100 days as the champ, and you're like,
seriously,
what are we doing here? Hasn't really been on TV, hasn't really felt featured, hasn't really felt of importance at all. So I went with like hey, you know what? Who made the U.S. title important at one point? I went Chelsea Green. Does it make a lot of sense? Do I make up some sort of story where Chelsea can get that back? No, I have no idea. But at the same point, that was the only time I really cared about the women's U.S. title. So I said, you know what? Let's just take it and throw it on Chelsea Green.
Yep, that's literally what I said.
I match it all the time.
I said, just give it back to Chelsea Green because this has not been good. I did note that it's been WWE's fault. I'm not going to put this all on Guilia whatsoever. I understand how great Guilia is. I'm not hating on her. Don't look at what we're saying as a attack Guilia situation. It's attack the booking of that championship. And only one person has been booked anywhere near correctly with it. Chelsea Green. And admittedly, she just is great in anything she ever does. I think that U.S. title is in the absolute gutter right now. So if you're going to drop it to anybody, freaking just give it back to Chelsea. Let's reset this thing. Have her be great 60 seconds a week and see what we can build from it.
Well, that's the thing. We talked a little bit about like, oh, well, who was booked correctly with it? I don't even know if she was booked correctly with it. I don't know if she was booked right at all, but she made it feel that way. Right. She made it feel important. Like you said, the maximizer of minutes. And it's like, yeah, you know what? I loved what her and Ethan Page were doing for a little bit, right? And so you could just do that.
Yeah, do that. Copy and paste. Copy and paste.
Yeah.
WWE. This one will be interesting because dude has been putting on bangers every single week. He has his open challenge happening weekly on SmackDown. It is the Intercontinental Champion, Sami Zayn. He fights every week, but who's going to be the one that ends up beating him?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if we're going to match on this one. We've matched on pretty much, well, I guess all of them so far. So let's see if we match on this one. You said we didn't do our SmackDown review, but there was a very important note at the end of SmackDown. Oh, man, you must be matching this one. I got Aleister Black here. You combine him with Zelina Vega, right? You make Zelina Vega feel important in that manager role. You can even have Aleister Black sit there and say, hey, guess what? I had my open challenge shot against Sami Zayn. Damian Priest cost me. I got distracted because of Damian Priest. He's taken care of now. You don't even have to do this right now. You can do it a month away or a few weeks away. Maybe that's a Saturday night main event match. Who really knows, right? You can have some other filler open challenge matches there while you kind of build Aleister Black up on the side. But this is the most intrigued I've been in Aleister Black in a while, and even honestly Zelina Vega.
100% agree. I said Aleister Black as well. A lot of reasons here, and I think you can do it in a couple of routes. I do think that last SmackDown really solidified Aleister Black as being like, okay, he's officially hot. Like, we can do something with this. So that's great. I know that Solo attacked Sami Zayn. I know that he's involved in that, and I know Damian Priest isn't just going to leave the Aleister Black situation. I think that's actually a perfect combination of people to go ahead and do a fatal four-way match and have Sami lose that belt without getting pinned because he is doing such great work. And you can also have Solo get away from it because he was just in it. Damian Priest has been a world champion the last year. Sami Zayn's obviously taken that belt and done something special with it. So now that all can work together to give Aleister Black a huge win, but put rocket boots on him and finally see what this man can do as a champion in the WWE. Really give him that time he's deserved.
Yeah, and you look at it and you're like, okay, Solo, we enjoyed Solo stuff, but like at the end of the day, sometimes you could be like, okay, well, it was the same stuff kind of week after week, right? Damian Priest, I don't know if you're really getting anything different, whether he's a champ or not a champ. Yep. And so Aleister Black at least feels a little bit different. And like I said, Zelina Vega is kind of like the driving force for me as to why I'm picking him to be that one.
You could also, just talking about her, you could slide her into that U.S. title role. If you want to give Aleister Black the title and then you want to go ahead and get Zelina the title with that, and they're just like the U.S. champion power duo, screw it. That's better than we got right now overall between the two of them combined, right? Let's head on over to Raw, though. Women's Intercontinental Champion, Miss Becky Lynch, who's going to be the one that ends up beating her.
Yeah, so I just said we've had the same all this time. I know this one. You're not matching. This is not right. So here's what I got. I know the money feud. I know the feud that makes the most sense. It's AJ Lee and Becky Lynch, right? That makes the most sense. It's like, okay, this is the end goal. I got Maxine Dupree. Now, why do I have that? Monday Night Raw, fantastic. And I'm not just saying that. Everybody's saying it. The crowd there is saying that. Becky Lynch is doing some really good work. And yeah, admittedly, the stuff with the ref was fun. Maxine got a count-out win. It was all sorts of fun games, right? Well, like I said, the money feud is AJ Lee. But at the end of the day, why can't AJ Lee just run out there, cost Becky Lynch? You get a roll-up pin from Maxine. You get a 1, 2, 3. And eventually, yeah, okay, she can just take it right back. I'm not talking, hey, she needs to break Gunther's IC men's title reign, right? I'm just saying, hey, let's just play a quick hot potato. Maxine Dupree was awesome. Why not have her on TV?
Let me read exactly what I wrote here. I said, AJ Lee feels like the only right answer here. I would love to see Maxine get a quick win and take the belt off Becky for a week, but my money would be on AJ Lee to take the belt off her. So I'm 100% with you. If we do get AJ Lee running in there, costing Becky Lynch the title for like a 1 week period where we go from Raw to Raw with Maxine as champion, I'm 100% down with that. But if you want to be realistic about like who takes it off of her and, carries that belt for an extended period of time, it's going to be AJ Lee, everybody.
That's unbelievable.
That's exactly what I wrote.
That's unbelievable.
That's exactly what I wrote.
We don't share these. We say that time and time again. Unbelievable.
Unbelievable. Big one here. The GOAT, the king of the luchadors, the greatest living Mysterio, Dirty Dom, who's going to take that IC title off of him.
Yeah, I've gone back and forth on this one. I think there's two legitimate answers here. You could either have John Cena do that at Survivor Series, or you could have Penta do it, I think, and maybe a Rusev, Penta, Dom triple threat where maybe Penta pins Rusev so Dom doesn't get the loss, right? Something like that. I'm going Penta on this one. I have Penta because Penta's been showing out each and every week. And the more I thought about it, like, yeah, John maybe beating Dom at Survivor Series would be good to lead into him and Gunther. But then it's like, that doesn't need a title, right? That's just John's retirement match. So I don't really need John walking in as IC champ. But at the same time, like, I wouldn't be upset if John takes it, but I got Penta.
I have John Cena winning this thing because I'm in the party. I'm in the group of one, I want to see Dirty Dom versus John Cena in a match in one of these final 4 dates for sure. And 2, I do want to see John Cena get the Grand Slam championship, man. It's absolutely crazy that we're here with 4 remaining dates and dude isn't a Grand Slam champion after 23 years in the business. That sounds absolutely insane. And I also want to see it for a third reason, and that's Dirty Dom in a huge spot. That would be a massive, massive match. John Cena's final Survivor Series, IC title on the line versus Dirty Dom. That's a big spot for the boy to be in. So I would just be happy all the way around. But I do think John Cena needs to win it and get that Grand Slam.
Yeah, that's probably the way that they go about it. Literally just yesterday from when we're recording this, that's what I was thinking. But then I thought about it a little bit more and I'm like, okay, well then Gunther takes the title and beats John and then he comes out and then maybe Penta comes then after that. Who really knows? Yeah. But it just seems like we're heading straight for a triple threat. Now, Dom may lie, cheat, steal his way out of that and get the win, but it just seems like this Rusev, Penta stuff's just building up that like I could see it happening.
Man, just boot Rusev out of it and do a triple threat with Penta, Dom, and John Cena. John Cena versus the Luchadors. I'm down. Tiffy Time. Tiffy Time, very controversial champion right now. I mean, people feel one way or another about her. There doesn't seem to be much middle ground with her. WWE Women's Champion Tiffany Stratton. Who should be the one that ends Tiffy Time?
Yeah, I think it's one answer and one answer only, really. I think it's Bianca Belair. I think you probably say that as well. We'll see here in a second. But this one is really just kind of a, hey, let's just wait till Bianca gets back. Now, if Bianca is not back, somewhat fairly soon, I could see them maybe doing like an Alexa Bliss if Charlotte Flair is healthy and all that stuff. I do want to say that, like, I feel like Tiffany's run this time has been kind of like how Cody's was the first time, because remember, like, we were talking about like, oh, well, there's nobody for him to go up against, and it's just kind of like a blah, and he's doing the best he can. I feel like that's Tiffany at some points during this reign. I mean, you're just running Jade and Nia Jax over and over and over again. How good can the reign really be? So, other factors have obviously played into it, but I got Bianca. I feel like that's the only answer.
I said Bianca Belair ASAP, but then it's one of those things when we really don't know when she's going to be back. WWE kind of hasn't hinted at anything. She showed up at the little Saudi announcement for WrestleMania, and that was kind of the last time we saw her. If you want to just book it in terms of like who do I think could take it off for that is on current TV, I would say Alexa Bliss. You could take those titles, those tag titles off of them with a Zaruka situation, something like that. Give Alexa Bliss the prop and go to the main title scene against Tiffany. I don't think anybody would really hate that. I just do think that it's one of those situations where we're just waiting on a return. We're waiting on more ammunition in the SmackDown women's division in order to even do this from the get-go. I love Tiffany Stratton. I'm going to put it that way. I think that her reign has been the best of her ability, but WWE really hasn't given her much to work with.
No, and I think it's rumored that her versus Jade probably at Saturday Night Main Event, that could be a spot where like, I'm there with you. We've seen that how many times, right? But that might be a thing where Bianca, if she is healthy, maybe she comes out at the end of the match. Maybe there's some sort of Tiffany's posing, and then you get a big return on network TV for everybody to watch.
That'd be absolutely great. We need Bianca Belair back, period. Let's move it over to the other big one, though, on the Smack It Down brand. WWE Champion Cody Rhodes, who's going to be the one that takes the belt off him.
Yeah, as much as people want to talk about Seth Rollins and who takes that title and all that stuff, that's a big shockwave kind of all around, because we kind of had it as like, okay, well, the Raw main event players, SmackDown main event players, neither one of them is dropping the title for a long time. Who wins Rumble? Who wins Chamber? How does that go about? I still got CM Punk on this one. I don't know if that plan really kind of changes in terms of him taking it off of Cody Rhodes, and I'll probably get into that here a little bit more when I talk about Seth Rollins. But I look at SmackDown's roster, I think the only person you could maybe have do it is like a heel Randy Orton, but we haven't really hinted at that too much other than a random Paul Heyman promo, right? And you're like, okay, well, maybe eventually we get a punt. That would be super cool. But you have Jacob Fatu, Drew McIntyre, who are two main event players in a feud right now, so it's not going to be anytime soon. Chambers reportedly going to be in Chicago, so I have that kind of happening at like WrestleMania. I don't know if people like that or not, but that's what I got.
The only thing I could think of is we do the Randy Orton turn soon-ish. It's been alluded to by Paul Heyman. I don't think they've done very good work in terms of like the actual Randy Orton, Cody Rhodes part of it. Like Paul's put it in their heads, but there really hasn't been anything going on between the two of them. Randy does look at that belt every once in a while, but like, But in my opinion, if anybody's going to take it off of Cody before Mania, I guess you do the Randy Orton heel turn. And then within that rivalry, you just have to have Orton take the belt off him, even if it is for like a 1 month period of time, because we've been waiting so long for that rivalry specifically. So Randy Orton, I guess, is just going to be my pick. But then again, it could be one of those things where Cody doesn't lose it till Mania or beyond. So
that's what I got. I got Punk winning Chamber. I'm not backing off that idea. I think Punk wins Chamber, and I think he takes it off Cody. Punk did say that eventually they got to cross paths. So maybe that kind of gives away my prediction here at this next one. But I got Punk. I mean, there's really nobody else on SmackDown right now that I could see doing that.
Yeah, Drew and Fatu doing that really puts a wrench into it. You don't really, you could take the belt off Sami Zayn and then he can go for Cody Rhodes, but I still don't see Sami Zayn beating Cody Rhodes. So yeah, I just don't know. I just don't know.
It's going to be interesting to see kind of how they do that. Do they make Orton turn heel sooner rather than later? Do they kind of maybe quote unquote rush it, right?
Yeah.
It's unexpected sort of thing. Cause you got
out of nowhere,
you got 6 months roughly until Mania. So who really knows? You got time.
You do got time. You got a lot of time. Our 2 crown jewel champions of all champions. They both are on Monday Night Raw, which was kind of a shocker from the get-go. A lot of people didn't think that Raw would take both belts, but they ended up doing it, and now they're useless because they don't show up on TV. Women's World Champion, Stephanie Vaquer. Who's going to be the one that takes the title off her?
Yeah, I think this one's not anytime soon either. I think this we've pretty much, I think, come up with the perfect plan here. I got Rhea Ripley at Royal Rumble, defeating Stephanie Vaquer for that. You give Steph a little bit of build up with Roxanne Perez and maybe Raquel in there as well. A couple filler feuds while Rhea's over dealing with the Kabuki Warriors. You get Rhea to win that before the Women's Rumble, and then you got Liv winning the Rumble, and then you run Liv Rhea Mania.
I think we just shared each other's lists because I literally have
that's the good stuff.
Rhea Ripley down the line, probably at Rumble is what I put here. We do filler feuds. I said Roxanne, Raquel, Nikki Bella, etc., etc., etc. We do that all the way till Royal Rumble. We have Rhea deal with the EO stuff that's going on, eventually, earning her spot back in the main title scene. And then when WrestleMania season comes around at the Royal Rumble, we have Rhea Ripley take the belt off Stephanie Vaquer, do exactly what you just said, have Liv win the Rumble, and let's do that thing going into WrestleMania. So that's what I have.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see kind of how they handle it. We all kind of assume that Stephanie's going to be in the War Games match, right, at Survivor Series. So is there maybe some tension that's teased throughout the War Games match that maybe costs Rhea and Stephanie's team, right? And then maybe that's kind of how you start to build that up towards Rumble. That's how I would do that because I think Io and Asuka is going to be at Mania, so that kind of takes her out of the equation, right? So if you could kind of maybe start to get that ball rolling there, I'd like that.
Yeah, 100%. Biggest one had to go on last because of what happened at Monday Night Raw this freaking week and all the speculation happening in the world. WWE hasn't confirmed a damn thing yet as we are recording this, which would be Wednesday night. Seth Rollins, is he injured? Is this all story? Because the man just got injured 5 months ago and threw his crutches and gave us all the middle finger. I don't really know. But given the injury, given the Vision betrayal, who in the world's going to take the title off Seth freaking Rollins?
Yeah, I definitely think Seth is injured. I mean, before we go any further, pictures of him circulating, I guess, of him being in a sling, right? And I understand that, he was on crutches before. Well, I mean, they wouldn't have done this, I don't think, if there's not legitimate.
Seth slinging Rollins.
That's terrible.
It's pretty good.
That's terrible. So you sit there and you think about it. Yeah, I mean, I don't think they would have turned the Vision as quick as they did if he wasn't legitimately hurt. This seems like something way further down the line that we were going to get. Maybe a Roman Reigns was what I had penciled in at Mania, but I don't have that anymore. I got Braun Breaker taking this title. The question for me is it Braun Breaker at this point? And I know we put out a short not too long ago saying like, it should be CM Punk. It should be CM Punk. Well, I kind of like the idea of CM Punk being the chaser and not quite getting that title. So I kind of like that. It'd be kind of cool if the Vision kind of keep Punk away still while Seth's gone, even though they turned their back on him. But the question isn't who's going to take it to me. It's going to be how do they do that? How do they determine? I mean, Punk is the number one contender. So is there a tournament? Is there a battle royal? Does Braun Breaker just hold the title hostage? I would kind of like that. I think that would be kind of cool. Who's going to mess with Bronson Reed or Braun Breaker? And then Paul Heyman's the mouthpiece. I mean, you really kind of need Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed to feel like a really, really big deal. And I get the turn kind of does that, right? But how does that give kind of longevity to that? What is next? Yeah, that moment is fantastic. That moment, it is awesome. But a couple of months down the road, how do you really keep the stock high of Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed and Paul Heyman there? So go ahead and give me Braun Breaker keeping that title.
I have Braun Breaker as well here. I know that, as you said, we kind of said like CM Punk, right? When it happened, we're like, CM Punk's going to get this naturally, right? But like I sat there and I'm like, CM Punk's story is about getting that belt off of Seth Rollins. It's not about just like, he got hurt and I ended up with the title, so I'm dancing on his grave type deal. Like, no, CM Punk's story needs to be beating Seth Rollins for that title at some point down the line. And it just doesn't seem interesting to me for him to like beat up on either a really injured Seth Rollins, or if you vacate the title and he goes up one-on-one against somebody else and just wins it that way. Nah, have Braun Breaker win this thing, shoot him in the main event scene that Paul Heyman and them say he's going to be in no matter what every single freaking week. Maybe you do have just a flat out vacate. Maybe even have one more showing where he shows up and the Vision destroy him again and you like force to vacate that way through storyline. I don't know, but one way or another, I think the Vision should keep the belt, ride this Braun Breaker high that you got going right now, and see what happens with him.
Yeah, I mean, it sucks to lose Seth Rollins, obviously, but I don't think the Vision's, dead by any means. No. I think people need to realize that maybe you got Braun Breaker, Bronson Reed. Bronson Reed just got that big win over Roman Reigns. And then I still assume there to be another member added at some way, some point, somehow. I don't know what that looks like, how they kind of do that now, but that's what I got. And then Paul Heyman can really just speak for everybody in the group, which is not a bad thing at all.
Yeah, honestly, I think the vision itself being like a little group is like, obviously having Seth Rollins is always better, but the vision is in a little bit more interesting place right now with me personally, because Paul Heyman's going to be able to do what he does best without the restraint of like having a Seth Rollins who has to get his mic time as well. Like Paul Heyman's going to be able to come out and cut promos for these guys as if he has 2 Brock Lesnar's standing behind him, which we all know how great he built up Brock Lesnar over the years. And doing that with Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed, I think is going to be gold, especially if you want to give a title to Braun Breaker or Bronson Reed at this point. I mean, he did just beat freaking Roman Reigns and he was crowned the tribal chief last week. So, hell, it could be him too.
Yeah, and you look at it a little bit too, and I know we're kind of running on about this, but the whole story too is also like, who's calling the shots? Is it Paul Heyman? Is it Seth Rollins? Like Paul Heyman can call the shots now if he wasn't already. You can maybe somehow, some way play that in. I know the timeline is like 6 to 12 months for Rollins if he is actually out. So who really kind of knows? But it'll be interesting to see if there's any sort of tweak in terms of how the Division are booked, just from a perspective of like, how do Bronson and Braun act now that Seth's not there? Do they just listen fully to Paul? Does he, straight up tell them, hey, go do this, go, or do they act on their own?
I mean, Braun kind of forced Paul into the situation too.
Yeah.
A lot of questions.
Mm-hmm.
That's what makes it fun.
Yeah.
Makes it awesome. Anyway, those are all of our choices, picks for who's going to dethrone every current WWE champion. Make sure to stop by in the comments and give your own opinions on it, because we'd love to have a conversation with all of you in the comments, because it's a lot of fun topic, and there are no wrong answers. Other than that, though, stop by our live streams, Raw, SmackDown, and PLEs, youtube.com/COD WrestlePod, and then for everything else, at COD WrestlePod, COD WrestlePod. We have a link tree in our bio to take you to all of our social medias. Make sure to like, follow, subscribe, share, all that good stuff, because we're really confident that you're going to love that kind of content. But I'm Will. That's Brandon. We're the Cousins of Destruction Wrestling podcast, and we will see you next time.